Right, okay, so really the majority of this can be controlled from policies. So let's have a look at some of the policies. I've just made a default policy here, and this is being applied to my iPhone. Just to give you an idea of the sort of things you can do, sort of things you can control with these policies. So these are the sort of things that we saw with 365. It's quite similar. I don't know, you probably can't read all of those texts at the back, yeah, really it's just password complexity here. Is it alphanumeric? Are we allowing simple passwords, or do they have to be more complex? How many minutes of activity before the phone locks, this kind of thing. Allow fingerprint to be unlocked. You know, with the new iOS 7, you've got the fingerprint scanner. Not that I would rely on that because it's been cracked by the Germans apparently. They cracked it and found a way of overcoming that. So you can control that from here. Encryption, I spoke about that earlier, and you can enforce that encryption so that the device has to be encrypted. Malware, you know, if there's a firewall on the phone, you can make sure that that's enabled. You can deploy automatic updates if the phone supports it. You know, and this is to work with the various different set of devices, and it's quite intuitive. It says, you know, up here, look, you can see which device it's relating to. So there's iOS, and then there's a little information point there if you want to know more about the feature. So it's quite intuitive, quite simple to use. The one thing here is quite useful is if you have users with iPhones, you've got company data on there. You might not want that being backed up into the iCloud, you know, and so you can control that here and disable that if you so wish. So emails, you can disable attachments. You might not want users to download attachments onto the phone, because once it's onto the phone, you know, you can go anywhere from there. It's incredibly granular, right down to the browser experience. Do they have autofill? Is that enabled? What cookies are enabled? Apps, what applications? Adult content. It's quite an extensive range. Gaming, you can disable the gaming. You can turn off the camera. You can turn off roaming and so on, and voice assistant. So I did a policy on this, which was just as an example. Well, actually, what I did do is disable the camera when we were doing a dry run of this presentation, and then I realised I couldn't scan the QR code. So that was something I managed not to do this time. So what I did do here is I've just disabled. I don't know if you're familiar with the iPhone. For pressing the top button, the bottom does a screenshot. If I do that, nothing happens because I've disabled it through the policy. So we've been using this, and it's a very easy way of managing devices. Okay, so let's go back. Oh, before we do this, and I forget this every time, just to show you how easy it is to deploy apps. Okay, so from here, there's a number of ways of deploying apps. If you've got apps you want your users to have, and they're in the App Store, or they're in Google Play, or the Windows Store, whichever device they have, you can publish those, and you can see I've put some productivity apps there, which are now available. So if I just switch over to the document scanner, and you can see from here, let's go into focus. So this is the sort of app that manages. Oh, it's not focusing. Okay, so this is the app that you deploy with Intune, iTunes. Oh goodness. So from there, you saw the apps on the screen that I published there. Oh, okay, it's expired. Hang on a sec. That will actually take a moment for you to sign back in. So actually, I've probably given you an idea already, because it'll take me you'll be bored waiting to sign back in. So basically, you saw the screen. You've got the apps in there. You can publish those. Now, what I did in this case is I just took those from the App Store as external links, and then just publish those. Now, if you've got your own developed apps, of course, you can publish those as well onto the iPhone, and obviously onto PC platforms as well. So you can publish apps onto your devices, your workstations and so on as well. Does anyone have any questions relating to Windows Intune? Yeah.
Right, so you've got an iPhone app box.
Yeah.
What steps get it linked into the stage where you can, for example, prevent screenshots like you've got on yours?
Yes. Okay. So because Apple are quite security conscious, as they should be, there is a process involved there to develop a trust connection between your device and Intune, and that really involves you deploying or getting hold of an Apple certificate. So to do, if you've just got a few devices, you can just download the certificates. You basically download the certificate and install it. It's a very simple process. If you've got a large number of users, then there are other methods. I believe we're using SCCM, which we can entail to actually deploy to a larger number of apps, or rather number of devices, rather.
And once that certificate's on there,
Once it's on there, that's it. You don't have to do anything else after that, and you can manage the device. I didn't actually show you the reporting, but you can sort of see a list, as you can quite imagine. You can see a list of all the devices that are connected, what hardware they are and have got them, and so on.
You talked about the application, the publish application. What about the cost ones that you have to pay? Can you publish them as well?
Yes, yeah. Well, I mean, really, with that, it's called external link. So what you do is you just get a link. So in this case, I got a link for Angry Birds. I found the external link, and then you can just publish that in it, and you just tell Intune to publish that, and then it will just appear on the device. And then when the user selects it, it actually just redirects them to that relative, to that app store, installs it at that time. Does that answer your question? Sorry, I don't know if yeah. Any other questions? Right. Okay. So we'll just move on to Link now. Now with Link, we'll do a demonstration with this to show you Link for those of you that are less familiar with it. So with Link, it's a surprising amount of sort of facilities and offerings through the Link client. So as you know, it's an instant messaging client that's very easy to use. But it also offers a number of other features, which Jason touched on actually earlier. But you can do your chat, but you can also use the voice communications. You can share your desktop. You can do a Q&A if you want to. So if you have an audience of people and you want to do Q&A, you can do that, and they can answer. You can answer their questions to an audience of Link clients. You can use a whiteboard facility. It's quite good if you like drawing pictures. I'm not very good at art, so I'll probably avoid that one. But it's quite a feature-rich product. Also, and something that I personally used in fact recently, was the federation side of things. Now, for an on-premise scenario, it's quite complicated to get federation to work. You've got all the certificates to think about and ADFS in some circumstances. But here, again, much like with multi-factor authentication, really, really easy. You just go in, it's off by default, and you can just say what domains you want to federate with. So we've got a customer that we work with. They've enabled federation on their Link or their 365 tenant. We've done it on ours. So then I'm able to look him up and then collaborate with him, which is really easy to do and very helpful. So you might want to start with text typing, then you want to have a phone call, and then you end up sharing your desktop. So we'll demonstrate that briefly now. So what I'm going to do is Paul will share with me his desktop, so you can see what happens when we connect to someone else's screen and how easy it is. So I'm just going to send a message to Paul. Maybe he wants to share to me his desktop. Hopefully the Wi-Fi is holding up.
Seems to be, mate. Seems to be. I've closed the point.
Yeah. Good. So you don't have to share the whole screen. You can just share an app like Calculator, or maybe something more interesting than the calculator. Hopefully something more interesting than the calculator. Yeah. So you can see there. That's. Oh, sorry. Yeah. Let me just swap the screens over a tick. So from there you can see. Let's see if we can put that into full screen mode, and then I can see Paul's screen there. And the whiteboard's just as simple as that, and same with the Q&A. No. Actually, Macs don't go wrong, do they? Last I checked. Okay, so that pretty much concludes the the sections that before I hand over to John. Is there any questions relating to link or any of the previous items?
The voice calling aspect that you've got is obviously just VoIP with the link-to-link clients.
That's right, yes.
What about hooking it into SIP or PSTN network?
I think with E4 plan you can
kind of got two options really. So if you stick in sort of the traditional kind of way of doing this, the way Microsoft wanted to the most, you need to put some link on premise and hook that up to your SIP gateway, some kind of voice stuff. You can have an E4 plan which allows you to hook up your 365 link to an external provider who provides that breakout to normal PSTN lines for you. It's something we've looked at, but at the moment the choice of providers who provide that service is quite limited, and their call rates aren't particularly competitive, shall we say, at the moment. But whether that's something that will change as that kind of VoIP thing catches on a bit more with 365, I don't know. But if not, you have to deploy some link stuff on premises and connect that up to 365 ads and voice.
So what do you have your link set up with?
So no, we have a separate for it. We did look at the E4 plan, but costs are too prohibitive really for us to use that. Change things.
Cool. All right, well, we've got a Q&A at the end anyway, so I'll now hand over to John, and he's going to go through litigation hold and encryption and so on. Thanks very much.
Right then, good morning everyone. As Stuart said, I'm going to talk to you about litigation hold. Just to put a bit of context around it, imagine that you're dealing with a legal case relating to your business, and you need to drag out some emails that were sent several years ago, and the user who received them has since deleted them. Now, typically with an on-prem environment, you'd be kind of in a situation where you'd have to kind of go through loads of backups tapes, see if you've got backup tapes going back that far, and if you have, see if you can restore it. If you didn't have backups going that far back, you'd be a bit stuck, and you'd have no way of recovering that message. What litigation hold does is it permanently retains any message that has been sent to or from a mailbox within your organisation, and by message I mean any kind of mail items. That could be a calendar appointment or a note or just a standard email. Another feature of it is that it will record the original version and any subsequently superseded versions of a mail item within your mailbox. As standard, it's included with E3 and E4 plans, though you can pay to have an upgrade with mid-sized business plans. With regard to recovering these messages, you'd use e-discovery search to kind of look for messages matching the criteria that you needed. I'll come to that point next. E-discovery, e-discovery can be used for a variety of purposes, not just for recovering deleted items. It will search all mailboxes, all item types, including obviously deleted and recoverable and purged items that are sitting in litigation hold. It's also, if you don't have litigation hold enabled across your organisation, it's possible to automatically place any items that are located as part of the discovery search on hold, so that anything that the user does subsequently doesn't result in that message being lost or deleted by accident. Once you've discovered the messages, you can export them to PST or copy them to a discovery mailbox that you can make available to other users. For example, you could make it available to your legal department or your HR department. And discovery operations, for example, actually running the searches, can be delegated to non-technical users using a discovery manager's security group. So what I'm going to take you through is actually configuring and running an e-discovery. So I'm just going to try and exit presentation mode and bring the console up. So if you just bear with me a moment. So I'm just going to log in as myself. I'm a global administrator across this tenancy, and I will take you through the process of creating and running a search. So the first thing we do is go into the Exchange admin console, which is where you can perform all the management tasks relating to user mailboxes, shared mailboxes, contacts, distribution lists, etc. The part we're going to focus on at this point is compliance management, and this is from where we can actually run the in-place discovery and hold. Now, due to the fact that when you're running an e-discovery search across a selection of mailboxes, it can often take quite some time to kind of run through all the indexes and discover the messages. I've actually pre-created one and I've pre-run it, but I'm just going to take you through the settings and how you can tailor it to suit your needs. So obviously I won't really give you any explanation over this. It's just the friendly name that you want to give to the search. Sources allows you to limit the search to specific mailboxes if you want to. And this is where things get a little bit more powerful. I mean, I've been very imaginative there, unfortunately, but you can use very complex kind of search operands to search for individual keywords or combinations of keywords, or mixtures of kind of phrases. So you can use and operands or operands, and you can use brackets to kind of join things together and such like. You can also specify a date range that you want to search for messages within, and you can also specify who's in the from or to field. Another thing worth touching on as well is you can limit things to you can limit your search specific message types. So I've got that set to all, but say for example somebody had been having some kind of discussion in link about a specific topic, and you wanted to be able to locate that. You could even search link items as part of kind of trying to find information about something that was potentially relating to a legal case. So that pretty much concludes creating the the actual query. And this last dialog here enables you to place the matching content on hold. So anything that it found, it allows you to place on hold. Because I've got litigation hold enabled across this entire tenancy, I don't have the option to turn it on and off, because obviously it's impossible for anything to be permanently deleted. Even if a user hard deletes anything, it will still be recoverable by an administrator or a discovery search operator. So once you've created your search, it will take it'll probably take about 5 to 10 minutes for it to kind of fully interrogate the Exchange indexes and locate the messages that match the criteria that you've specified. Once it's done that, you can then preview the search results, and you can then kind of see which mailboxes they reside in. You get a preview pane where you can view them, and you can even open the attachments. So in a few moments, it should bring up some test emails that I've been sending and deleting. So of course this did work very quickly when I wasn't actually presenting, but some things yeah, here we go. So as you can see, I'm quite persistent with my test messages, and it will kind of give you the option. It will list the mailboxes that the messages matching the criteria have been found. So as you can see, there's some in my mailbox and there's some in Stuart's mailboxes. So if I scroll down, you can see that one of those messages has got an attachment and a nice 2 meg JPEG, which it should automatically display in a moment. And there we go. Somebody's been emailing me pictures of trucks. So I don't know who that could possibly be, to be honest. But there we go. I think looking at it, I think it's a German truck. So not that I know much about them.